Well, good morning. Welcome to the Alpine Church of Spiritual Living this morning. I'm going to read our thought for the week, which is entitled Then and Now. As we enter the beautiful month of May, we're going to be playing with the theme of change gracefully or not. When I think of life, it is all about change. You may be wondering why I capitalize life and it. If you've read my column for over 19 years, you hopefully have picked up on the fact that those capitalizations represent the eternality of spirit. To me, life is not just about the experience of this earth plane, but goes well beyond this physical experience. It's baseball season once again, and I find myself immersed in rooting once again for our Padres. The former voice of the Padres, announcer Jerry Coleman, was a baseball player himself and a colonel in the Air Force during World War II. Whenever someone asked him about the way things used to be, he would respond, "Well, that was then and this is now." There was a very wise man, for he knew life doesn't go backward but forward. No matter how hard we wish or try, life is about progression. We have the option and opportunity to either drag our feet or go with the flow. One important element, though, to take with us as we move through change is to be well seated in our core values. Core values are our fundamental beliefs and practices that inform how we conduct our lives. Do you know and follow your core values? You might stop right now and jot down your top 5. Honesty has always been toward the top of my list. Perhaps yours might include learning, love, respect, compassion, courage, imagination, and more. When we are grounded in our core values, the winds of change can come and go, yet we will be guided and girded with a strength that from within that brings us through those times of change, challenge, and transition. Say with me, I am seated in my core values so that I am comfortable and at ease with the winds of change. My life is an ever-evolving one. I take the best from the past and live joyously in the now. Well, happy May Day, May 1st. As I had said in the thought for the week, this month we are going to be playing with the theme of change gracefully or not. I initially had it just change gracefully. And then the more I thought about it, the more I realized, well, we have the option of doing it either gracefully or not. Because the truth of the matter is, life is going to change, it's going to move, it's going to progress. And as I said in the thought, we can either drag our feet or go with the flow. So I'm trusting this morning and throughout this month, actually, that we will be looking at the changes of life and allowing ourselves to go with that flow of what is happening in this moment, in this day, and letting go of what had happened in the past and what might happen in the future, and stay present in the now. I believe that each and every one of us, because we are spiritual beings, have within us this beautiful divine element of spirit, of grace, that wants to lead, that wants to guide us, that wants to bring us to our highest and best good. No one is exempt from that. No matter what has befallen us in our history, in our past, we all have within us this 1,000% ability to draw from this infinite source within us. And this infinite source has been always, eternally, without end, without beginning, without end, always and forever. And that's what we are. That is our basic essence and energy. We are here, yes, on this sojourn of life, on this earth plane, but that our core energy and essence has been and always will be living this life of Spirit of God. We've been moving through our mindful meditation class, and we are learning how to be mindful in meditation. Well, one of our first practices is to be able to stay focused on our breath. And so our practice has been, we started for 5 minutes. Breathing in, thinking about breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. And they use that focal point because that's something that all of us do all the time. It's not an option. And so it's always there available to us to focus on. And yet when this lovely, lovely monkey mind of ours, when we try to sit down and just think about one thing, breathing in, breathing out, it shouldn't be that hard. And yet, these minds of ours they just shoot all over the place. So I've graduated now. I'm up to 15 minutes from 5. And yes, my mind is still jumping all over the place. But I'm working on it. And I'm trusting that all of us are going, if you're not in the class, just do that one simple little exercise. Start with 5 minutes a day to focus on the here and the now, to know that that's where you are living your life. So as I said in the thought, yes, our topic this morning is that was then and this is now, because people would ask Jerry Coleman, well, back in the day, how did they do this and that and everything? And he would not focus on that. He would say, no, this is what's happening today. And how many of us, gosh, I can remember I was at a luncheon a week or so ago with a lot of ladies about my age, and we were all talking about the good old days and how it used to be, how we used to be able to go outside and play in the street, after school. We get our homework done so we could go play in the street, and all the different things as we were growing up in the 50s and the 60s that we did, that we enjoyed. And gosh darn it, these kids today, blah, blah, Life is not going to repeat itself, my dears. I'm grateful that I had that experience. But my granddaughter is not going to have that same experience. She'll have a new one, a different one. We have a tendency in our lives to want to carry with us the good and the bad from our past. Now, we may not think that we want to carry the bad, but we do. We have it somehow secretly, I think, ingrained in our psyche. And we don't even know it. It's subconscious. It's unconscious. And we carry those negative vibes with us throughout our lives, day after day. And so it's interesting and knowledgeable and helpful if we can uncover those untruths, really, that we carry with us, that we have made into a truth for ourselves, but it's not really the truth. And those are those negative powers that bring us down. If we can just let those go. I saw a very short video the other day of a college professor, and he was in front of his students, and he had a glass of water back here. He has a glass of water here. I have a bottle of water. And he said, I've got this glass of water here. How much do you think it weighs? And the students would answer, 8 ounces, 12 ounces, 16 ounces, something like that. He says, is it heavy? No, not particularly heavy at all. I can hold it, no problem. But what if I held on to this bottle of water for 3 hours? What if I held on to this bottle of water overnight, into the next day? What if I held on to this bottle of water for a week, a month? Would I feel the weight differ in my hands? Would I feel the amount of stress that was given to my body and my mind different than if I had just picked it up, opened it up, taken a sip, and put it down? It's done. It's over. I've used it. It's served its purpose. I don't need it anymore. I don't need to hold on to it any longer. How many times do we do this with our lives? Rather than taking whatever is in front of us and using it at the moment, gleaning the lesson from it perhaps, or not, but putting it down, not carrying it with us. What a difference it makes for us to be able then to be available for what the next moment of life, what the next gift of life is giving us. Think about how many things you have held on to, whether they're good or bad, in your life. Because remember, we are living in the eternal now. Life is ever progressing now. Of course, if you have learned a lesson from the past, you have an experience, you certainly, if you are a child and you put your finger on the stove and you burned it, you're not going to do it again, you know. But you can take those lessons with you and learn and know that there's something more in this life beyond that. I had a mindful moment myself yesterday. Mindful moments, what does that mean? You're living in the mindful now. The now, okay? So yesterday, after I dropped off Marcy and Joe at the Unity Church in Altadena, they were going to get ready for the concert that was happening last night. So I dropped them off, and as I came back by Mission Valley and into La Mesa, I thought, I'm going to stop at Grossmont shopping center, and I needed to go to a specialty store. So I'm walking through the mall, and I glance, I see this store. It's been there for years, and it fixes cell phones, and it fixes things. And I walked by it, and then I backed up, and I went back, and I went, they fix cell phones. Wonder what that's about. So I went in, and I showed the guy my phone, and I said, do you think you can fix this? And he started laughing hysterically. And I'm like, okay, maybe not. He's, oh yeah, no problem, we can get that fixed. But, because I've dropped it a few times, okay? It had, and I had that shatterproof glass thing on the front of it, and I wanted to replace it, so I took it off, and I thought I bought the right one, but I didn't. And of course, I had a friend put it on for me. She goes, well, this isn't the right size. I said, well, put it on anyway. So it was too small, and then the corner of the whole thing was chipped, and all these lines were going through everywhere. And so I said, well, what does it cost to get it fixed? 40 minutes later, and $135 later, well, I got a back for it too, and I got the right screen for it, the right cover for it. I walked out with this beautiful phone. And as I picked it up, I said to the fellow, I said, well, gee, I'm happy because now nobody's going to laugh at my phone anymore. And he said, yeah, that was really ridiculous. How many things in life do we carry with us that are broken, that are ridiculous, that are laughable, really? That we just say, oh, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, I don't have the interest, I don't have whatever it is to be able to, quote, fix it. We are here, I believe, to go through the changes of life gracefully. And there will be changes. There will be things that we have to let go of. In the concert last night, when we sat down, there were all these boxes of tissue available by the seating area. I'm going to tell him. So Peter and I went, and at first Peter goes, oh, that means that these chairs are reserved. I said, oh, no. They're just thinking that, they're available for Kleenex if you need them. And so during the concert, it was fabulous. It was Daniel Nahmod, of course, Marcy Baruch, Ray Davis. I had never heard him. He sings at Agape, fabulous. And, of course, Daniel Nahmod. And at one point, Peter reaches down and grabs a box of Kleenex. He goes, I didn't understand why these were here before, but now I do. The one that got me, though, which is on his new CD, by the way, the one that got me is the one where he sings about raising a kind boy. And, of course, that one just touched my heart, thinking about Burke. Many people have asked me, how are you doing, with the passing of your son? And I have to say that it's challenging. There's ups and downs. But I have brought with me that core value of knowing that each and every one of us comes to this earth plane and leaves this earth plane in our right and perfect time, in our right and perfect way. And that has been my anchor. That has been my foundation to move through these changes. I don't understand it. I don't like it. I don't know why. But I know that each of us has our own itinerary that we set, that has been set. And when we are open to being available for living in the now, as I was sitting there this morning typing up these notes, I looked at the cup that I had in front of me, and it has the words, "It is what it is." So I urge you to go through your life knowing your core values, number one. What are your strengths that you want to carry with you through every change that you will go through every blowing of the wind that might send you off course, to come back to realizing that there is only that one presence within you that only wants your highest and best good, that there is a divine grace that is eager to lead and guide you to stop at that cell phone store, to take the initiative to breathe, to feel this life energy pulsating through you, and knowing that there is this energy that only wants your highest and best good. And sometimes it might look messy. Sometimes it might not be fun. But look and expect for the good that is in it, for the life of the joy that is in it. Be willing to set down that glass of water and not carry it any longer than you have to. Be mindful. Know that this life is ever flowing, ever progressing, and that you are up to the task of facing it boldly, bravely, and absolutely in grace and joy. Namaste. Love you.